Hey guys, Alves here with New Stylee, your guide to getting the inside out. It's winning week, and this is part 2 of a 3-part series. Part 1, we talked about how do you know whether to quit your job. If you missed that, please go back and watch it. This episode, we're talking about the startup essentials. What are the bare minimums to get started? Okay, I've got a list of 6 points for you. I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly. Ready? All right, let's do it. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna need to do is establish the preliminaries. Those are, of course, your business registration, setting up your bank account, any certifications or licensing, stuff like that that you'll need. That's the preliminary groundwork, and that kind of varies by industry and the type of business that you're trying to start. What kind of business are you gonna have? Is it a partnership, a sole proprietorship, a corporation? So do your homework, find out what it is that your particular business needs, but you do wanna get that foundation, okay? The second point is plan. What's your plan? Now, a lot of people tell you that in order to start your business, you need a business plan. I know for me and many other people that I know that are in business, that can sometimes hold you up a little bit because you make it bigger than it needs to be. What I've found is that, yeah, you will at some point need a business plan if you're gonna, try to get funding or solicit sponsorship or anything like that. However, start with a manifesto. Basically, just write down what it is that your business is about, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, where do you want to be, what are your goals, and how do you want to get there. This is pretty much all you need to get started right away. In addition to the manifesto, I highly recommend that you take the time to develop a strategy. You know you want to get from point A to point B, but how are you going to get there? Like I said in the last video, you won't necessarily know every single step that you're going to take, and even if you plan that out, it doesn't always go that way. But if you have a general direction, a general idea of how you're going to get to where you want to go and kind of flesh out those next steps, it will help you tremendously. Point 3 is product. What are you gonna sell? It could be a product, it could be a service. Basically, we have an idea of what it is that we're gonna offer to our customers. Whether it's a service or a product, it's usually, very intricate or involved. So what I recommend for the bare minimum for you to just get started is to think of your MVP, your minimum viable product. That's actually a real term, by the way. You may be envisioning a product with all of the bells and whistles. I want you to simplify that and think of what is the bare essential. What if I were to strip down all of those bells and whistles, what have I got? Start with that. And as you progress in your business, start adding things on. And you'll find that it'll help you to build an even better product because now you're getting the feedback of your customers. The same thing goes with the service. You may want to offer, 1 million services, or you may want to be super fancy and, have all kinds of, intricate plans or processes in your service. Start with the bare minimum. This will help you get started. The more complicated it is, the longer it takes for you to get going. Number 4 is pitch. What do you do? How do you communicate what it is that you do to your clients? And how do you communicate it in a way that makes them interested in what you have to offer? People talk a lot about developing an elevator pitch. I highly recommend that. If you can kind of simplify exactly what it is, the essence of what you do in a few words, or in less than 10 seconds, then that will help you. If you've ever been to a networking event where there's a lot of people, you know that you only have a few seconds to kind of express what you do in order to pique their interest. And the same goes with your potential customers. You've only got a few seconds, so you really have to take the time and really develop a strong pitch. Number 5 is process. You've developed a pitch. People are interested, they want to buy your stuff, they want to get your service. What's the next step? What's the process that they have to go through in order to, complete that transaction? Sure, you've got a bank account, but what are you going to use in terms of taking their payments? How do they buy your services, your products and services from you? Do they go to a website? Do they have to do it in person? Do you take check? Do you take cash? Do you take money order? How are they going to buy your services? Are you going to have your services offered strictly online? Are you going to have a brick and mortar shop? Are you going to partner with an established company and have your products sold out of there? Think about that process and have that kind of nailed down on the fastest, easiest, most simplified way to get your goods and services in the hands of your customers. Number 6, my personal favorite, presence. So you've laid the foundation, you've developed a plan, you've got a pitch, you've developed your process, you know the product that you're selling. The next thing you've got to do is establish the presence. How do people even know that your stuff is available to buy? This is where web comes in, social media, print collateral. These are the things that puts your company out there in the marketplace. In terms of website, listen, websites can be very intricate or they can be very simple. And of course, for the purposes of this video, I highly recommend that you start with your bare minimum, a landing page. A landing page will give the essential information that a customer needs to know about your company, your brand, your product, your service. It's very quick, it's very easy to establish, and there are a lot of services out there that help entrepreneurs establish landing pages, and I'll be talking about that in part 3 of this series. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube. There are a lot of outlets out there that will allow you to get your brand out there to let potential customers know that you exist. I'm not saying go and open a social media account on every single platform out there. Think about your business, think about what makes sense for your business, and open the accounts that apply. Don't open accounts and then just have them sitting there and not doing anything with them. But what I would recommend is that if you got a social media name, you want to secure that handle on as many platforms as you can. Just don't go live with every single account, put one post out there, and then just leave it to die. So we've got a web presence, we've got a social media presence, and you also need a physical presence. When you meet people face to face, what do you leave them with? Well, obviously you're gonna need a business card at the very minimum. And on that business card, you'll want to have your logo. It doesn't have to be something over the top. It could just be typography, but you want to have something that clearly defines who you are in terms of your style and also gives the pertinent information that a potential customer or a potential contact would need to have. Now, on that business card, you're going to need to have a phone number and an email address at the very least. In the next video, I've got some great tips for you to kind of establish a phone number and an email address on a budget. So there you have it, guys, the bare essentials of getting started with your new venture. Listen, guys, one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this particular video is because I was one of those people that overcomplicated everything. I would sit down, I'd think of a strategy, and I would every single step of the way just add on a ton of things that didn't necessarily need to be there. And it wasn't until I simplified things, took off the, trimmed the fat and took off the extras, that I was really able to just get it going. I read a quote somewhere, I don't know who it was, but they said, if you're not just a little bit embarrassed by what you put out there, then you've waited too long to launch. Another quote that really helped me is, if you put out a polished piece of work, people will see the flaws. If you put out an unpolished piece of work, people will see the potential. So keep that in mind when you're launching your new venture. So thanks for watching. I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. And as always, please visit my website and join my newsletter at www.gettheinsideout.com. Thanks, y'all.